Changing direction of flow on a tandem vane pump. Digger derricks are aerial devices using a tandem vane pump.
Hello, this is Scott Bittler with Terex Utilities Technical Support Department. Today we're going to cover in a video tech tip checking and, if necessary, changing direction of the rotation of this pump. Tools needed to perform this tech tip and taking this pump apart if necessary will be a 5/8 inch socket, 3/4 inch socket, correct size drive ratchet, a torque wrench reading in foot-pounds, a selection of small Allen head sockets, and an inch-pound torque wrench to torque the cartridges, which will be shown here in a little bit, back to their original value. A little note about safety when working with hydraulics. Please never check for leaks with your hands. Always use a piece of paper or cardboard. Hydraulic oil injection into the or underneath the skin is serious and needs immediate medical attention. So again, please do not check for leaks with your hands. Thank you. The tag on this pump is marked LH, meaning left-hand direction or counterclockwise rotation. That is determined by the direction the shaft rotates looking at the shaft end of the pump. And we'll cover more about direction of rotation as we open this pump up. Before installing a new pump that just came out of the box, we want to make sure it matches the one that came out of the unit. A few seconds before installing it can save you quite a bit of time if the direction of rotation does not match. What we're looking for here in the inlet is the tip of the vane. As you can see, the point of that vane is on the right, so the direction of rotation is this way, or looking at the shaft end of this pump, this would be a right-hand rotation pump, or clockwise. And if you remember a little bit ago, the tag on the pump said LH, left hand, so this is a good example of the tag on the pump not matching how the pump is truly set up. Also, when installing a new pump, you want to look at the other cartridge, which is visible by looking the other direction through the inlet section of the pump, and making sure that it would also be rotating to the right, or the point of the vane going to the right. We have seen pumps incorrectly assembled by the manufacturer, and so it's a good idea to check that brand new pump before you take the time to install it. Before disassembling the pump, mark the relationship of your two output sections with the inlet section. Be aware that if you use a felt pen, most hydraulic oils will take your mark away. One way to mark would be a couple small punch marks. Please keep them away from the machine face so that it doesn't distort it. First, we remove the end cap. Now, when you remove that end cap, this square seal and this O-ring may come with it, and the cartridge may come out with it as well, or it may stay like how I just started this step. Set these aside for further disassembly. After removing the 4 bolts that hold the inlet section to the shaft section, remove this housing, set it off to the side. Remove this cartridge, set it aside for further disassembly. Here's another good look at the tip of that vane. In this case, it's pointing to the right. You'll also see that the cartridge itself is marked with an arrow direction of rotation and a number showing the flow rating of this section of the pump. In this case, 21 gallons a minute. Now we're going to go through the process of changing direction of rotation. Mark the location of the 2 fasteners that are in the existing cartridge and remove them. To change the direction of rotation, effectively we're going to take this center section and rotate it or flip it 180 degrees. So one way of doing that is turn it on its edge, carefully slide off this end plate, make sure the kidney seal stays in place, Move it over here. The same on this side. Again, the kidney seal needs to remain in place. Please avoid sliding these flex plates across any of the rotor or ring surfaces. It can place a scratch in there and ultimately lead to a pump failure. So we've changed our inlet and outlet end plates. Put the center section up here, this section up here, and then as you assemble it, you're going to notice that the screws are going to go into the opposite location that they came out of. As you can see now, instead of pointing to the right, the tip of the vane is pointing to the left, so now we have reversed the direction of rotation with this pump cartridge. In our written tech tip, which is tech tip number 71, we show taking this cartridge and sticking it in a V-block or piece of angle iron to line everything up before you tighten your two screws. If you're out in the field and having to perform this cartridge direction change and don't have a piece of angle iron, you can easily slide your cartridge in here and line everything up, snug up your Allens, with an Allen wrench, and then this section, these two screws would get torqued to 50 inch-pounds. And then you'd repeat the process for the other cartridge, or the smaller cartridge in this case, and the torque spec on those is 35 inch-pounds. When you set up the rotation on both cartridges, one will be one direction, the other will be opposite because they go inlet to inlet section side. Okay, we're going to install our square ring first, lightly lubricated. I'm going to take our cartridge, carefully place it down here, get it line up on the splines. Because our inlet section, I've already looked in there, the holes where these two dowel pins will be here, I pre-positioned it. We'll bring our pump section O-ring in, get it seated correctly. Bring our inlet section over the top, bring it down, and you can see that drop nicely in place because I had the pins in the correct orientation. When I slid that inlet section housing down over the cartridge, I mentioned about the pins and dowel pin holes lining up. These are the pins I'm mentioning. And down here in the center casting, next shot, I'll show you where I'm talking about. They need to be lined up correctly. If they're not, you're going to limit the inlet flow in this pump and how it gets to the cartridge and potentially damage a new pump in very short order. Okay, here's a good shot inside this pump housing. Here's the hole in the housing where the dowel pin on this cartridge is designed to line up when it's assembled correctly. So let's do that right now. Okay, left and right, left and right. It is a snug fit. There we go. And as you're installing these components, don't ever use force. Everything should slide in nice and freely. So we'll move or rotate the input shaft a little bit and get it to drop in place, and then we'll finish assembling this section of the pump. As you saw previously, these cartridges are pretty snug fit. Helped me out that I put the pump up in a vise standing vertically. Little finesse, little run in the pump shaft, dropped right in place. So now we've got our square ring in place. We've got our inlet housing to end cap seal in place. Now we're going to place the end cap. Okay, the end cap is in place. We're going to put our full 4 bolts up there. Run it down by hand first. check our marks on the assembly that we made before we took it apart. These end cap ones get torqued to 50 foot-pounds, again with a calibrated torque wrench. And we're going to make sure that the pump shaft rotates freely. One last double check before we put this back in the truck is take a look through the inlet section. Make sure both cartridges are set up for the direction of rotation that you want. As we've been going through this, you might be asking yourself, why is he working on this dirty pump? Well, it was convenient for this demonstration. It was marked as a left-hand pump. As you saw when we started out, it was actually set up for right-hand rotation. Of course, when you're working on hydraulics, everything's got to be clean, almost spotless when you put it back together to help ensure that we're not going to have an early failure. Thank you for watching our video tech tips.